Morning, everybody. I am pleased to call to order the September 1st, 2022 meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Note the presence of all three commissioners, and I'd like to ask Dr. Wang to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So today I want to start by recognizing that September is National Preparedness Month. And of course, this week is also the one-year anniversary of the remnants of Hurricane Ida wreaking havoc across Montgomery County. 1 year ago today, on the afternoon of Wednesday, September the 1st, 2021, bands of heavy rain started to move into our area. Over the next several hours, 6 to 8 inches of rain or more fell, leading to widespread flash flooding and stranding countless people in their vehicles and their homes. To make matters worse, an EF2 tornado with 130-mile-per-hour winds carved an 8-mile-long path of destruction through Upper Dublin and Horsham townships during the early evening hours. By Thursday morning, September the 2nd, both the Schuylkill River at Norristown and the Perkiomen Creek at Graterford crested at record levels. Communities along both waterways experienced catastrophic flooding for numerous hours, even after the rain stopped falling. During the storm, our Department of Public Safety's Emergency Communications Center answered 9,034 calls for assistance and dispatched 467 water rescues, many of which involved the rescue of multiple persons. These rescues were heroically executed by our dedicated municipal first responders and members of the Montgomery County Urban Search and Rescue Team, saving countless lives and in many cases putting their own lives in danger. Thousands of people sustained damage to their homes, and in dozens of cases, properties were destroyed and beyond repair. We also experienced the tragic loss of life when 4 members of our Montgomery County community perished during the storm. The county acted quickly to stand up a multi-agency resource center, emergency hoteling operations, food delivery, case management services, transportation, and various other services to support our residents. All of these services were provided at no cost to our residents. Within weeks of the storm, 3,728 reports of damage to homes and businesses were filed with the county. When FEMA announced that federal disaster assistance had been made available to our residents to supplement recovery efforts, our citizens filed 6,778 registrations for assistance. This resulted in over $13.6 million being dispersed in our county to individuals and households. The county continues to reconcile our recovery-related costs. Many of our roads, bridges, parks, and trails sustained heavy damage. The current costs incurred by the county related to Ida are estimated at $25 million. Of that total, $3.5 million went to emergency hoteling costs. And for the last 10 months, our emergency hotel program provided lodging for 217 households, totaling 513 people. All households that received lodging were assigned a housing case manager from a local provider agency. This was to assist them in locating housing or getting them back into their homes and providing additional resources needed for their disaster recovery. At the end of the hotel lodging program this past July 1st, 10 households remained in hotels. These households opted to either self-pay for their hotel or were supported by other nonprofit agencies, such as the volunteer organizations active in disaster. We know many people are still struggling 1 year later. Disaster case management is available to families in need of recovery services through the Commonwealth. You can call 1-833-461-8-IDA or 833-461-8432. This information is also up on the screen and can be found at the county's IDA website at montcopa.org/IDA. We also continue to post information on tax relief for affected property victims, property loss victims, free legal assistance, resources for insurance questions, and mental health support on the IDA website. I want to thank all of the local, municipal, and county staff who continue to work on recovery efforts this past year. I also want to remind our residents that due to the changing climate, more disastrous storms are likely to happen in our future. We encourage all of our residents and business owners to prepare for future disasters by making an emergency plan, building an emergency supply kit, and staying informed by signing up for emergency notifications from trusted sources. More information is available on how to do this on our website at DPS, which stands for Department of Public Safety, dps.maco.org. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to Ready Maco. Anyone can sign up for free by visiting www.readymaco.org. Ready Maco is the county's official source for notifications about emergencies, disasters, and community information. If you're under a flood or tornado warning, find safe shelter right away. In the event of a flood, move to higher ground immediately. Do not walk, swim, or drive through floodwaters. If a tornado warning is issued, please go to a basement or interior room away from windows and doors. And most of all, take these emergency alerts seriously when they come. We want everyone to be safe when harsh weather strikes. National Preparedness Month is a great reminder on the need to focus on being prepared. And we will be sharing emergency preparedness information all month on all of our county social media platforms and other communication channels. And again, we want to just thank everyone who's been so actively involved in our Hurricane Ida recovery efforts and share our deepest sympathies with those who were impacted by that storm. Next, I want to provide a bit of an update on some of the work that the county is doing around housing affordability. Last week, we heard about the tragic loss of life that was experienced by an individual who at the time was unhoused. And no one should ever have to live without a roof over their head. This is unacceptable. We readily acknowledge that the county is facing a housing affordability crisis. This has been the case for many years, but it has been made worse recently due to the economic impact of COVID, the destruction of homes by Hurricane Ida, and rising rents across our region. We've got immense sympathy for those who are still in search of permanent housing and recognize the trauma that our residents have sustained because of the lack of affordable housing options. Housing is a basic need that is critical to holding a job and to one's physical and mental health and so much more. No one ever plans to lose the safety and stability that housing provides. However, many of our residents have experienced unexpected and life-changing events during these last couple of years, and in some cases that has led them to lose their homes. As you heard a few minutes ago, hundreds of affordable housing units were destroyed by Hurricane Ida, and we know that over 100 of these units will not be rebuilt. We welcome the advocacy and support around this critical issue, and we want to use this momentum to work together. The county has been actively working and funding solutions to these issues for over a decade, and we are grateful that more people want to join us in this work. In the short term, we continue to work to help people experiencing homelessness find resources and shelter through our service providers. We also work hard to prevent homelessness in the first place. Households at risk of homelessness are referred to legal aid, the Emergency Rent and Utility Coalition program, our eviction prevention program, and other resources. In the longer term, through our recovery office, we've announced plans to invest $32.4 million in housing priorities identified by our community. This funding will support 325 new affordable housing units, the creation of 2 new temporary housing facilities, preservation of existing affordable units, and support future affordable housing. It was said at last month's meeting that affordable housing is a county-wide problem that will take a county-wide response. We agree. We have consistently taken a county-wide approach. We have 62 municipalities, and we need each and every one of them to do their fair share to help their residents in need. I will not vote to allocate funding to residential developments that do not have an affordability component proposed as part of the project. If developers want public funding, they must be offering a public benefit. However, the county does not control local zoning, even on land that is owned by the county. The county is always ready to fund developments that include affordable housing and other supportive housing, and we do. We just need the leadership and compassion of our municipal partners, developers, and residents to help make it a reality. I also want to address a misconception that the county chose to close the CHOC, the homeless shelter for single adults. This is not correct. The fact is that the Commonwealth is set to convey the state hospital land that the CHOC sits on to the municipality of Norristown. All tenants on that parcel, including the CHOC, were required to depart the property. All residents of the CHOC at the time of closure were moved to a hotel. No one was put on the street. We are actively looking for a temporary and permanent location for a shelter and have allocated $7.5 million for a new facility to replace the CHOC. We also fully support Norristown's development plans for that parcel of land. In the meantime, we continue to increase county funding for supportive services for those experiencing or at risk of homelessness. We're asking other levels of government to step up and join us. If every one of the 62 municipalities in the county ensured that some affordable housing units were being built in their community, and if every municipality ensured that they had just a few emergency beds for someone in crisis, we could largely solve this problem. I also want to thank and acknowledge all our county staff, particularly the Office of Housing and Community Development, our nonprofit partners, and residents that support families and individuals without housing or who are struggling to maintain the housing they do have. This is challenging and difficult work that can also be emotionally draining to those that work in these fields. At our next commissioners meeting, we will have more to share about the actions we're taking to continue to address this in the short term and specific ways that everyone in this county can help. But again, this is a county-wide problem that requires a county-wide response. If you'd like to learn more about what we're doing, you can visit Your Way Home website at www.yourwayhome.org, where you can find more information on existing programs and services to assist those who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. And finally, just want to announce, as many of you I'm sure heard yesterday, that the CDC has approved a new COVID-19 booster, and our Office of Public Health should have boosters by September the 12th at the latest. We will make sure to announce and let you know when those boosters are available. And with that, I will turn over to Commissioner Lawrence.
Okay, thank you. First, I'd like to report on the HHS school supplies donation drive, which was an effort to offset school supply costs for our families. Our Department of Health and Human Services just ended their drive, and I'm happy to report that it was a huge success. I'd like to thank the over 20 county offices, community groups, and workplaces who participated in donating thousands of items for children returning to school this year. The drive collected 183 backpacks already filled with school supplies, approximately 9,000 loose items such as crowns, pencils, notebooks, and anything a child would need to have a successful school year. With these donations, HHS is able to equip over 900 children for school, many of whom are being served by our Office of Children and Youth, our Early Intervention Program, and the Early Learning Resource Center and Community Connections. And once again, this would not be possible without the generosity and determination of our volunteers and communities. I'd like to give a special shout out to Veronica Hillman, who coordinates the annual HHS donations and drives each year. And we're proud that in addition to the county work and services they provide, they take time to connect with and coordinate meeting the needs of our clients on a more personal level. Having the right tools in the classroom can be the confidence boost that kids need to excel, so we wish all of our kids to have a successful school year. And if you're interested in volunteering or want to donate for other needs, especially around the holidays, you can visit www.montcopa.org/HHS donations for more information. And today, September 1st, the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board, in partnership with the Montco Anti-Hunger Network, is kicking off its 8th annual Valley Forge Freedom from Hunger Drive, a fundraising campaign that builds awareness around hunger in Montgomery County. The Montgomery County Anti-Hunger Network is a coalition of hunger relief organizations working together to help keep more than 15,000 households and 80,000 people stable with food assistance. Last year with this campaign, the Tourism and Convention Board was able to collect more than 30,000 pounds of food. This year's goal over the next 2 months is to collect the equivalent of 40,000 pounds of food by October 31st. Like last year, this drive will takes place solely online at www.valleyforge.org/hunger, and monetary contributions will be used to purchase food and other personal care items such as toothpaste and toothbrushes, shampoo, soaps, diaper, underwear, and t-shirts. And as we've heard, with the effects of COVID and Hurricane Ida still lingering, and with recent inflation and supply shortages, more individuals and families are struggling, and more food cupboards are finding it hard to keep their inventories up to match demand. And this is why the Freedom from Hunger food drive is so important to our community. I'd like to thank the MON for all the work they do all year long to fight food insecurity and keep families in need fed. And I'd also like to thank our tourism board for their commitment to helping these families. To donate or find food resources for someone in need, you can visit www.valleyforge.org/hunger.
All right, we will move on to public comment. We will begin with public comment on matters appearing on today's agenda. Mr. Stein, if you could read the rules, please.
Absolutely. Good morning. All speakers who are physically present should sign into the meeting on the sheet available, Ms. Co-Francisco. All speakers should come to the podium if they are physically able. Speakers should identify themselves by name and municipality. All public comments must be relevant or germane to county business. Under the law, this means that the subject matter of all comments must be limited to items or issues which are currently before the Commissioners for consideration or which may come before the Commissioners for consideration at a future meeting. Whether a matter is germane to county business is a determination to be made by the county solicitor. A time limit of 2 minutes will be monitored, and county staff will respectfully request speakers to conclude their comments if they go beyond the time allotted. Yes. Ms. Braccio?
You know, I really don't enjoy doing this almost every meeting, and I really wish you would just change these to actually comply with the law. The general comments are not the same as the agenda comments, and you have it as if they are, and they're not. Because all we have to do as residents is comment on things that are applicable to the county, not anything they're going to vote on necessarily. So when you have that on the second page, which you don't ever read, you say that as defined above, you know, as that it's the same. It's not the same.
Thank you, Ms. Braccio. Your objection is noted.
And are
The
you, when
board
are you
is
going
not
to
required
change
to
it?
respond
And
to public
also,
comments
I
beyond
wasn't
the-
really finished.
Ms.
I
Braccio, your
wasn't
objection
finished.
has been noted.
But that was in all
We can
of
start
it.
the clock if you would like. You can use your 2 minutes this way.
And then I'll still talk at my other sections too.
You'll have the other, if you have a general public comment, as well as comment on the items on the agenda, yes.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Francisco, do you want to start the clock?
Wait, you're going to take away my 2 minutes for
You're going
the...
to start, if you were going to continue talking, yes.
Oh, so this is how you shut me up. You know, that's also against the law.
Ms.
You
Francisco,
are
please start.
actually, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You know.
The board is not required to
Asbury
respond to
School Board
public
lost.
comments during the course of the meeting. The public is reminded this is not an opportunity for dialogue or questions and answers. The board chair may direct appropriate county staff to follow up on any questions or additional comments after the meeting. Disruptive behavior, including but not limited to yelling from the seats, arguing whether a matter is germane to county business once the solicitor has made a determination of such, or refusing to yield the floor once time has elapsed and being requested to sit down, shall be grounds for removal from the meeting without further admonishment or warning. The commissioners always welcome written correspondence, comments, and feedback at commissioners@montcopa.org.
All right, so we'll start with public comment on today's agenda. Ms. Co-Francisco.
Sure. Pauline Braccio.
Pauline Braccio, Tomlinson Township. Now, because I don't know what's going to be said during the meeting until afterwards, I'm going to be commenting on an agenda item from last meeting, which is when the person from the Board of Health was commenting on monkeypox, and, you know, you have to stop. The new COVID thing, the CDC has already said that vaccinated and unvaccinated people are supposed to be treated the same, that masks are really not necessary and don't work. And you continue this lie all the time, and you're wasting money, and you're having people scared to death to run out and get these vaccines. There's not even a real test for the monkeypox yet that I've read. And also, there's no vaccine for the monkeypox that's been proven. Why don't we just get rid of the FDA and save the country a lot of money? Because these companies are just putting out these vaccines without even any approval. People are dying. The average death of a vaccine, COVID vaccine, is within 5 months. Not immediately like they used to think. And it is, you literally are killing people. And anyone who continues to get these boosters is literally killing themselves. And then you want people to inoculate their children. Why would you want to put this poison in their children? I went down to the January 23rd protest in DC. There were people on the stage whose children were in wheelchairs, and some whose children have died. Now, I don't know why parents are continuing this. I don't. But I know that it's only 4% now. There's a lot less parents taking their children to be vaccinated. Thank God for that.
Next, Ms. Francisco.
Yeah, next we have Giuseppe Conicelli.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Doctor. It's Giuseppe, Giuse, PPE, Craney, Craney, hyphen Monticelli, Monticelli. My agenda items here that I'm going to speak
Could you
about.
just state your municipality?
What's that?
Your
Oh,
municipality.
sorry, Mr. Stein, Conshohocken Borough.
Thank you.
My two agenda items, well, actually more than two. My agenda items here I'm going to speak about is K7, contract award, public safety lighting, Stutch lighting. What is this? You know, you guys never give us details. Is this upgrading the lighting on, you know, sheriff department vehicles? Is this upgrading the lighting inside local municipality vehicles for public safety? Does this deal with fire departments? Does this deal with EMS? I don't know. Let's do K8, contract award, recorder of deeds. What's up with the system we currently have? I know this GovOS system. This GovOS system they use for TIPA requests, Texas Public Information Act requests in Texas. And also it's used for a lot of other data as well. Why do we have to upgrade it for the recorder of deeds? Why? What's wrong with the one we have now? We're going to do agenda item L. I object to that. What tower is being repaired? Why does it need to be repaired? And I also will object to Montgomery County Emergency Service, MH inpatient, private psych. How are we supposed to trust these doctors when they are threatening the patients as of October of 2020 to shoot them up with booty juice if they refuse to take their psychotropic medications? I yield the floor back to you, Doctor.
Next.
Next we have Kim Henderson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Kim Henderson, East Norriton. Before the approval of minutes, I would like to comment on two agenda items from August 18th. One being monkeypox that Commissioner Arkoosh told us 12 confirmed cases out of estimated 860,000 Monco residents. That's 0.0013% of Montgomery County residents. You indicated not to worry, as people aren't dying from it, it's slow to spread, and yet there's also a vaccine. So I'm curious, why bring it up? How are cases being confirmed? As someone else asked, are there tests regarding this? I'm concerned that Commissioner Arkoosh is using your physician status and pulpit as commissioner, pushing fear and to further push vaccines that have not gone through proper clinical trial timelines. And then I'm also additionally concerned about the fourth COVID booster in the same manner. My second concern from August 18th is the gentleman who gave a dramatic account of the homeless man who was stuck in Norristown while passing through. He got down on his luck, possibly dabbled in drugs, and died on a Norristown street, which is incredibly sad, and I feel very much compassion for anyone going through this. The agenda here, as Commissioner Arkoosh just also stated, is to push public housing projects in the surrounding townships. My questions and concerns come to you also acknowledge about the state hospital project, which the property has been given. The borough gave them $30 million to demolish the buildings that is currently going on. I would also add that Josh Shapiro got rid of the county-run Park House facility, which also helped out with people with disabilities and affordable nursing care. So I just get very concerned about the amount of money that we are allotting to all these projects, and we still have this problem. My last thing would be about today's agenda.
Your 2 minutes are up.
Okay, I'll bring this up in the salary board meeting. Thank you.
Okay, next we have David Morgan.
I'm David Morgan. Good morning from Ambler. And I wish to speak about an agenda. There's a high cost of $831,000, approaching $1 million for a Maine out-of-state. I'm concerned about that cost to out-of-state firm. And also, my biggest point I'd like to make about the agenda is about the ability to have public comment at the end of the meeting, because various things happened last meeting, and we should, as people in democracy, be able to know them fresh, not think back. Okay, I had to think back about the large program of the 261 Recovery Act presentation that had, after 1 hour of the meeting time, going back in the video, if you go to the left side of the website, you go down, you see the all videos, and to go on that video and you go past an hour, you'll find the transparency mentioned by both Commissioner Arkoosh and Mr. Lawrence, Commissioner Lawrence, in regard to that. So I'm concerned that we have little transparency in the Justice Center. We had 7 meetings, apparently 7 town halls were mentioned for this 32.8 million or so for housing, but we have last August 232 million was spent in August, but most people were away on vacation for the Justice Center, and that was for phase 2. I still haven't found out how much phase 1 costs, and perhaps Mr. Dortone can help me with this, because we should know the tally. We're paying the taxes, and our taxes went up 5% last year, 8% this year. And a lion's share, if you look at the capital budget, goes towards this Justice Center, which is on its way, on the ground. So I'd like to know this disclosure, and we should be able to assess what was going on with monies, because when you hear millions mentioned, we really have to look at the scale of this project. Also, it's sad that the Norristown Company, which seems to be the gentleman mentioned about Jesus helping people, and that would be accountable, making money. Each person would be a job with this. This was not a part of this program. I'm sorry about that. And I also would like to just have this 3-minute perhaps start-off time, and rather than a 2-minute, because as you see, I'm being reduced, and it's just not like before. It was 5 minutes. Not like before.
Thank you, Ms. Curry. Next.
It froze on the screen, but it was counting down. I'm sorry about that, yeah. Okay, next we have Marlene Laska, who's joining us remotely. Marlene, if you want to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm not sure if this is the right place for this comment. It has to do relative to elections. Is this the right place?
Not yet, ma'am. If you could just wait till we get to general comment. Right now, we're talking about items on the agenda. So just hold for just a minute or two, and we'll get right back to you, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I have you. Oh, no, we're just going agenda and then we'll go to general.
Any more agenda comments?
No, we'll move on to general.
Okay, why don't we start then with the constituent
Okay.
on the Zoom?
Okay,
So we're moving on now for general public comment.
Okay, Marlene, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Marlene Laska, Upper Providence Township, Oaks Precinct. I'm thanking you in advance for listening to and acting upon what I have to say. 3 points relative to overall voting and the election process within Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. First, canvassing has confirmed that the Montgomery County voter rolls have issues that result in the voters' lack of trust in both the voting process and the overall process by which elections are conducted within the county. The effort to clean up the voter rolls must be initiated. Second, we the people firmly believe that 1, votes must be counted at the precinct. 2, voter IDs must be requested from all voters. 3, in-person voting must be encouraged. 4, the county must stop the use of drop boxes. Lastly, relative to records from the 3rd of November 2020 election, even though federal law does say that you can begin destroying voting records after the 22 months, no law requires such be done. That is, you can keep the records forever if you want to. We request that no Montgomery County 2020 voting records be destroyed in sync with the letter that we're certain that you received from Jonathan Marks, the Pennsylvania Department, the Deputy Secretary for Elections and Commissions, in which he states, quote, "We believe it would be prudent to continue to retain 2020 general election records for the time being and requested that you do so," end of quote. Also, under the Pennsylvania Standard Right to Know law, yesterday, Wednesday, the 31st of August, I personally filed a request for per ballot records, sometimes known as cast vote records. I was told I would be notified of the status of my right to know requests within 5 business days. Hopefully there'll be no issue fulfilling this request. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with the rest of the folks in the room and then we'll move back to online. So we have Pauline Braccio for general public comment.
Hi, Pauline Braccio, Talmadge Township. I want to talk about the Justice Center. I call it the Super Center, the Del Ritchie Super Center. I don't understand why I keep getting calls from different law enforcement agencies begging for money. You know, you have all this money, $500 million to spend on a useless building when you already have a courthouse that all it needs is some rehab, which you're going to do anyway. And, you know, DA Steele and Sheriff Kilkenny came here asking for an increase in their budget for training and for salary. When you have this huge building being built for $500 million, but you're not increasing the manpower on the street, what is the point of it? I'm still going to ask you that every time, because you're wasting money. Also, you got $161 million from, I guess it was like pennies from heaven that came in to the state, and you're using that for a lot of different things, which is good. But the important things are, you know, I know you talked a lot about the homeless, but I don't understand why you can't actually center the focus on that and actually work on it. I had an idea. Since that building is being built for so much money, why don't you use some of the floors for the homeless? You can use it as a homeless shelter for some of those people. And then you wouldn't have to build a lot of different buildings. You could just incorporate it right in there. So what's wrong with that? I'm sure you could find a reason, because you need your luxury apartments for the judges who actually are just under your rule or Shapiro's rule, because judges don't actually make their own decisions. I know that from experience. And, you know, it's just a lot of waste going on. And also you're getting that laundered money through the PennDOT, the $5 per registration for each car. I call that being laundered because it's going to PennDOT, but it's coming straight to the county. So,
Ms. Rasha, your 2 minutes.
thank you.
Okay, next we have Giuseppe Monticelli.
Once again, for the record, Madam Dr. Giuseppe, Giusepppe, Craney, Craney hyphen Monticelli, Monticelli, Conshohocken Borough. My general public comment is going to be this. I noticed back in June that all of a sudden one day, the Montgomery County property records for the deeds, the name search function was turned off due to, I believe they were saying, safety reasons. The only safety reasons I see for that function to ever be turned off, realistically, is for home title theft criminals. You turn off the name function, would that prevent them from stopping home title theft? No, it just makes it a little bit more harder. That's all. All what they need to do is go on, find out the addresses for this person through other databases, plug in different addresses, which you still allow, and once they find the name that hits to their query search, boom, they got it. Much more harder, you're making it more harder for them, but you have to understand, not everyone's out there for that, no one's out there for harm. Can you imagine, and this was my industry for many years, what this does to journalists? How much more harder this makes the job for journalists? I mean, come on, really? My other thing is, I don't want to be escorted out by Robbie here, but am I allowed to speak about Central Behavioral Health? You give funds to them? Central Behavioral Health, community-based. So I object to all funds being sent there. You still, after almost 3 years, and they're still not allowing patients to go inside the Willow Grove office. I don't know about the 2 locations here in Norristown, but I mean, come on. You're talking medication management over telephone, not even video? My last comment is, God bless the homeless vets.
Next we have Ken Souter.
Good morning, Ken Souter. I'm from North Wales. I have a little talk here on the Dominion voting machines. And May 24th of this year, Georgia had a primary election involving, well, there was more than just this one, but one county, District Number 2, involved 3 people, Alexandria, Long Spears, and Orson. And the Dominion voting machines came up with a total of 12,639 votes in that primary. It turns out that there were 15,449 votes cast in District 2 for that particular race. The machines failed to count 2,810 votes entirely, and even the ballots that the machines did manage to count had wildly inaccurate results. So Long Spears, who came in last, requested a hand count. And the hand count proceeded. Long Spears actually came in first place instead of last place with 6,651 votes, which was 3,620 more than the Dominion machines gave. Alexander came in second, 4,737, with 355 additional votes. And Orson, who originally came in first, came in last with only 3,928, 1,298 votes less. Okay? In a race, I lost my place here. In a race with 15,449 votes cast, the Dominion machines managed a discrepancy that was off by 5,411 votes. And you can't just say that the machines are only 65% accurate. Look at the vote totals again. The machines were actually switching votes around. The obvious fraud would never have been caught, and the original May 24th machine results would have been approved by Rafsinger if Michelle Long Spears had not been in the precinct offices in District 2 on primary night. She took pictures of the precinct results, provided them to a local newspaper in DeKalb County. These results showed that Spears had received 0 votes in her home precinct. And so I'm requesting that we go to a paperless system like France and hand count it so we can have confidence in our elections.
Thank you. Next we have Jenny Schneider.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Jenny Schneider. I'm from Lower Providence. Imagine you're an 84-year-old woman. You're legally blind. A botched cataract surgery forced you to stop driving and working. Your memory is fading, and you find comfort in familiar people and surroundings. You have never, in your 84 years, lived without at least one family member. Suddenly, a group of strangers owns your life. You are abruptly ripped from the warmth of your daughter's company. You are forced into a strange car with a strange man, taken to a strange place, without even being taken home for one single personal belonging. Strangers touch your body every day. Strangers come into your room. They scare you. They confuse you. They eat your food and get into your bed. You are deprived of sunlight and socialization. You miss a family funeral. You miss a shiva. You are deprived of normal physical and mental stimulation. Your children can only see you 1 hour per week. Something is wrong. Something is terribly wrong with the way our county treats our elderly. I've been trying to get in touch with the commissioners for 9 months since this happened to my mother. Until last week when I spoke at this meeting, I received no response whatsoever, and I finally received a response this morning addressing the wrong issue. I have, thank goodness, been approached this morning by Mr. Stein and Ms. O'Malley, who I hope will help me resolve this. But I want to bring it to your attention that you oversee the Department of Aging. This was due to the Department of Aging, egregious actions that they had no right to deprive my mother of her personal liberties, and my entire family has suffered tremendously from this. These processes are harmful and unacceptable. I'm asking once again for oversight of this department and of these processes. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Jean White.
Morning. My name is Jean White. I'm from Montgomery Township. The U.S. and the Pennsylvania Constitution declare the people as the government and our elected officials as our voice in that government. Nowhere in our Pennsylvania Constitution does it state that mail-in ballots, drop boxes, multi-day voting are legal. It does state that the county commissioners and not the Secretary of State determine the election process at the local level. With that in mind, we are letting you know that we, the people, want to remove drop boxes, mail-in ballots, and return to one-day in-person voting with voter ID using paper ballots that are counted at the precinct level, and disband the county counting offices that ensure the election fraud that we have been encountering. Our vote is our most precious asset, and this county commissioner office must employ the people's requirement for safe and transparent voting process, which does not exist today.
Next, we have Kim Henderson.
Kim Henderson, East Norriton. I just want to finish my agenda comments. One being that I question why there's $43,721.77 that's being awarded to voter services for support to Global Corporation for the Blue Crest machines. And so everybody knows the Blue Crest machines are the ones that open the mail-in ballots. They are relatively new as well. The Blue Crest machines, they're pretty new. So I object to any more funds being sent to global corporations regarding our elections. I also, exactly what Jean said, it's in your hands here at the county level. I do like to remind everyone in the audience, everybody watching online, that 2023, the commissioners will be up for re-election, and be aware of how they raised your taxes, how they're doing reckless spending, and not answering to their constituents when we stand up here meeting after meeting. I also want to remind everyone that in the 2020 election, the state of Pennsylvania had over 120,000 more votes than we had voters. And that is on the State Department website. We the people demand safe, secure, transparent elections. We come to every commissioners meeting and every Board of Elections meeting. More and more people are waking up to the fact that the numbers are just not adding up. The election process in Montgomery County is a need to know basis, and we the people need to know. I want the commissioners to know. More and more people that I speak to realize that there's a problem here and they are disenfranchised by the county. I spoke to a retired man in East Norriton yesterday. He said he never votes. He's also a veteran. He said he never feels like his vote counts. He said he did vote in 2020, but again, felt disenfranchised by what's going on. Dear Commissioners, I ask you to work with We the People in educating the public and our children about civics and also writing the vote here in Pennsylvania, and I yield back.
Next, we have Nan McGrath.
I feel strongly,
I'm sorry,
very,
Can you please identify
oh,
yourself? and
Nan
name, Sally?
McGrath, Upper Hanover Township. I feel very strongly that elections in Montgomery County should return to the way people voted for many, many years, which is to vote on Election Day, or if a person isn't able to get to the polls on Election Day, they can request an absentee ballot. Very simple. If someone wants to vote, they could vote by one of those methods, as has been done for years. I don't feel at all confident that drop boxes are secure. Obviously, the more people that are involved with handling ballots, the more opportunity there is for fraud. We were told that the drop boxes were instituted in Montgomery County because of COVID. But now Montgomery County wants to continue with a practice that was implemented during unprecedented times, even though it's no longer necessary or prudent. Why is Montgomery County continuing with this unnecessary and problematic practice? Not requiring ID, extending election day to election weeks, and placing drop boxes around the county just invite fraud on so many levels. Please reconsider these current practices and change them so that all Americans can feel confident that our elections are safe and secure. Many, many, many Americans do not feel that our elections are currently safe and secure. You would think that after almost 250 years as a nation, our elections would be ironclad by now, but instead, our elections have become more vulnerable to fraud than ever before.
Next, we have Catherine Matthews.
Hi, my name's Catherine Matthews. I'm from Franconia Township. CDC guidance for COVID-19 has changed. We know CDC said COVID-19 should no longer interfere with our normal life. That includes election. So our election should be in person, no mail-in ballot, no drop boxes. It should be one election day, no election weeks. And we know many counties in Pennsylvania already now using mail-in ballot and drop boxes. We request our county to remove drop boxes and mail-in ballot and return us back to one day in-person voting. I'm not sure if you have watched 2000 Mute, the documentary. There are solid evidence that many fraud occurred related to drop boxes and in 2020 elections. So we request drop boxes to be removed immediately for 2022 election. My second point is, machine, just like Ken Sutter had commented on. So both Democrats and Republicans have concern about the electronic machine we use in election. So we request we return to paper ballot for election and count it in precinct level on election day, and we would know the results on election day rather than a week later. And we, the people, should have this right to request above. Thank you.
Next, we have David Morgan.
David Morgan of Ambler. Regarding the man who lost his life in Norristown, it was very sad. At last meeting, it happened during public comment, it was reported, and it happened, of course, not at the meeting, but a comment about that. So anyway, if enough police were given a chance to be retained in force and recruited, as DA Steele asked in December at the budget meeting, which is very low attendant, maybe I've been the only one or a couple of people at these budget hearing meetings, well, then maybe that man's life would have been saved. So as for the elections, I hear resounding interest in, we're back to normal in terms of there's festivals going on, there's races going on, there's a lot of things happening, so that we're not in a state of lockdown, fortunately, anymore. And so I support that idea of in-person elections on the day of. And also, related to elections, I was concerned at minute 37, the award for the interns in last meeting had a reward given to them, an award given them with only 2 signatures on the award. And I'm concerned because they had to hear the obvious truth from Commissioner Gale that he was left out. So I think that's then raises concern if Commissioner Lawrence is in charge of the election board and does not recognize the Republican person in the room with him. What about the Republican ballots coming in for Doug Mastriano and for, pardon me, Dr. Oz and Mr. Nascimento that are coming in? They have to be recognized. So to have confidence in election, perhaps we should have a parliamentarian or some special individual in charge of this who would have then more of an objective viewpoint to consider that, and perhaps to recuse. I think the word is recuse yourself from that, right? Is that correct, Mr. Stein?
Mr. Morgan,
That's
your
correct.
2 minutes is up. Your 2 minutes is up, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, if I may, Mr. Morgan, commissioners do not count ballots. I do not count ballots. Chair Arkoosh does not count ballots. Commissioner Gale does not count ballots. We are not involved in the counting of ballots. We don't count the ballots, Ms. Henderson.
You didn't say you count the ballots.
I understand that. We didn't say count ballots. You're in charge of the
Right.
Board of
The
Elections.
policy.
Right.
So if you're going, we would love to have a conversation about it.
Next, we have Tara Halsey.
Good morning. I am Tara Housesteele from Lower Pottsgrove. The U.S. and PA constitutions declare the people as the government and our elected officials as our voice in that government. Nowhere in our PA constitution does it state that mail-in ballots, drop boxes, and multi-day voting are legal. It does state that the county commissioners and not the Secretary of State determine the election process at the local level. With that in mind, we are letting you know that we, the people, want to remove drop boxes and mail-in ballots and return to one-day in-person voting using paper ballots that are counted at the precinct level and disband the county counting offices to ensure the election fraud that we have encountered is stopped. Our vote is our most cherished asset, and this county commissioners must employ the people's requirement for safe and transparent voting processes, which does not exist today. No machines. One day is election day. I have no confidence in machines, the post office drop boxes, and we need to save our ballots so they can be used as evidence. And I'm just frustrated that I have to be here to say these things. It is common sense. It is election day, not a season. That's fraudulent. Paper ballots are more trustworthy than these machines, which have been found to be fraudulent. And it's disgusting that the United States of America is using other countries to do our elections, and that the state of Pennsylvania is employing other states for their elections. We matter. There are people here who are competent and able to do this job. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Nancy Price.
Nancy Price, Upper Merion, thank you for having me here. I want to say that I'm here to request a resolution similar to the one passed in Lancaster County last May by their commissioners to remove, for drop box removal. And similar to their resolution, whereas the Montgomery County Board of Elections seeks to ensure absolutely fair and secure elections to the utmost extent possible, so that all citizens of all political parties may have full faith in our elections. And they finished theirs by saying further, as in-person voting is the most secure manner to run an election and instills the most confidence in the citizens of this county and Commonwealth, we call upon the legislature of Pennsylvania to fully repeal Act 77, to enact voter ID, and to restore elections to in-person as outlined in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, with exceptions for absentee ballots only as specified in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So there is great concern on both sides of the aisle in this county about election integrity. And I say, you know, Montgomery County proud, let's do the right thing here. Let's use our common sense. Thank you.
Next, we have Claire Brown Palmer.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Claire Brown Palmer. Brown, married name is Palmer. I go by Palmer. I'm a lifelong resident of Montgomery County with a brief to go away for school. West Norriton. My father, the late Lawrence Brown, was a judge in Montgomery County for many decades, from 1976 until 2005. And I say that only because I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying. I have never trusted the election integrity. I have never trusted it. I've gone through 3 different technologies. The first one was press the little levers and you pull it at a school on Burnside Avenue that no longer exists. Then it was the touch pads and you pulled them. And I just always felt there's no way to recreate what I did. In the past, I see my country being torn apart and it breaks my heart. In 2016, half the country didn't believe the results of the election. In 2020, the other half of the country doesn't believe the results of the election. I initially thought paper ballots seemed kind of daunting. How could we do that? Until I learned that actually India does it and France does it. And they managed to do it. And the reality is that there's a record. There is a record. This last time when I went, I was handed a piece of paper and a felt tip pen. And I thought, that's odd. I've taken, I don't know how many tests, I've filled out how many forms. I've never used a felt tip pen. And it did go through. I later understood how that works, and that a lot of, what was it in one of the counties in Georgia, Fulton, I can't remember, something like 95% went to the adjudication file. Whether it's honest or not, it just leaves people not trusting it on both sides of the aisle, and it's tearing this country apart. Elections are done on the local level. And in order to heal this country, everyone, Democrat, Republican, and an independent, need to have faith that what the results are reflects what the people voted for.
Member Thompson.
the online folks. So we'll start with Michael Kingsley, if you'd like to unmute yourself. Again, Michael Kingsley, if you just want to unmute yourself there.
There we go. Sorry about that. First of all, I would just like to thank Ms. Arkoosh for addressing my comments from last week, for last meeting, and just appreciate her using her opening comment time to address that. I do understand that the county, Montgomery County, is involved in addressing our homelessness crisis, and I'm aware of the hard work that the commissioners and the many departments in our county are doing to address it. My comments from last meeting were in an attempt to display the immediacy of this crisis. We are seeing more and more folks on our streets every single day. And it's concerning to me as you all know, some of them have issues with mental illness, some of them have drug addictions. I heard this morning that someone OD'd right here around the corner last night. But every day, more and more, I see 65 to 75-year-old people that are becoming homeless and are just living in the street because they can't find a shelter. My concern about the immediacy is those people that are most vulnerable, the people that are upwards in age and have a mental illness that can't fend for themselves out on these streets. We know we have issues with violence. We know we have issues with drugs out there, and leaving these people loose on the streets is a danger to themselves. And I just would like to see something done in a more emergent fashion, that we can find a building, find a plot of land where we can put some safe sheltering space in place for these people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll give it one more sec, but if no one else has their hand raised, that concludes our public comment.
I would just like to take a brief moment to address the members of the public that attended today's meeting, because you all took time out of your busy days to talk to the commissioners. And I want to make sure that your energy and focus is directed in the proper way. The state legislatures are responsible for creating their state's election laws. The county government is responsible for making sure the conduction of election day, the functions related to election day, are executed. So the laws that we have to follow are given to us by the state government. And all the root of the problems that you brought up today, the root of it all is Act 77, which in a nutshell is 50 days of no excuse mail-in voting, the longest vote by mail period of time in the entire country. And it was passed in 2019, prior to the pandemic. It had nothing to do with the coronavirus. And that's what gave us a mail-in voting counting center, an additional expense we never had before to conduct our election here in Montgomery County and all the 67 counties in Pennsylvania. We never had mail-in ballot drop boxes. I hear the term drop boxes. They're mail-in ballot drop boxes. Again, the root is Act 77. And I vote against all contracts associated to mail-in voting because I recognize that the Act 77, which was passed unconstitutionally. And that was ruled unconstitutional by the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court, which was later reversed more recently by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And the United States Supreme Court won't take that case. In my opinion, Act 77 was blatantly unconstitutional. And for that reason, for the last several years, I've opposed everything related to Act 77. And my hope to shine a spotlight and inform the public of what happened in Harrisburg. And frankly, this law was passed unanimously by all the Republican state senators in Harrisburg. The Democrats opposed it. But ultimately, the law has to be signed by the governor, which is a Democrat, Tom Wolf, and there was a deal cut.
Because when you unanimously see Republicans pass a law and a Democrat governor sign it, with the Democrat legislators opposing it, it was the removal of straight ticket voting. Republicans wanted straight ticket gone, and the Democrat governor wanted mail-in ballots. It's politics. And I'm the only one talking about this, and frankly, I'm also the only county commissioner in the state to oppose certifying election results. And I opposed certifying election results before the general election of 2020. So a lot of people that are upset right now, I didn't see them prior to 2020. They didn't like the outcome of the general election results. I opposed the primary election of 2020 because I recognize that this is a serious problem. It has to be corrected. And good people like you that are passionate about the integrity of our elections have to focus your limited time and energy in the right way. And that's with your state representatives and your state senators. I do what I can as the sole conservative voice on this board to educate the public. But ultimately, I'm outnumbered 2-1. And you're coming here, you're not going to receive any feedback from my colleagues. Apparently, there's a town hall meeting on elections taking place in a couple weeks. I encourage you all to participate in it. But ultimately, you have to focus your energy in the right way, and that's in Harrisburg. So thank you for attending the meeting today.
Joe, the drop boxes are in the county.
Okay, we're going to move on, please, to approval of the minutes. I will move to approve the July 21st, 2022 minutes of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? All right, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, that motion passes. And then additionally, we have the minutes from the August 18th meeting. And I will move to approve the August 18th, 2022 minutes of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Minutes are approved. All right, we now have a special presentation. It is also National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. And I'd like to invite up Anna Trout, our Crisis and Diversion Director from our Office of Mental Health. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you to the commissioners for having me here today. Like Dr. Arkoosh said, September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. And I have the honor and privilege of getting to talk to you all on behalf of the Montgomery County Suicide Prevention Task Force, which is, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about who they are and what they do. So this is a group that is of the community, for the community. As a county office of mental health, we help with things like taking minutes and making sure that we have a Zoom link or rooms saved, and we do a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. But the magic of the task force is because it's made up of people from the community who care about this. Whether that be somebody who has lost a loved one, somebody who's made an attempt themselves and is a survivor, educator, people from schools. We have drug and alcohol professionals. I could read you the list, but the theme of what I'm trying to say is if this interests you, if the idea of supporting people on their hardest day, of saving lives from suicide, something that feels taboo to talk about, but this feeling of what do I do when I feel like I can't do it anymore is a really human experience. It's a really normal thing to happen, and we need to get rid of the stigma of it because it's the shame that makes us so unsafe. It's that I feel like I can't tell somebody. I feel like if I tell somebody, it'll make it worse. That contributes to being so unsafe. And so sometimes people think, I have ideas about this, or I have a direction I would like to see this work go, but I'm not a mental health professional, so I don't know if I fit in. There's a role for mental health professionals and clinicians to play, but the real suicide prevention work, the real saving lives, the real flipping it from just preventing death to giving people something to live for, that happens with all of us. When my humanity recognizes your humanity, that's when I feel less alone. That's when I get less risk and more safety. So if you are interested in joining, you are more than welcome to email or check us out online. Claudine Shull is one of our co-facilitators from the task force. She would be more than happy to hear from you, put you on the mailing list. Here's the thing about the mailing list. Anybody that comes like too close to any of us, we're going to try to get you on there and make you a part of the task force. It is a low barrier, low commitment. You participate as much or as little as you want. If you want to get on the mailing list and just occasionally forward things to your friends or people that you work with to kind of give them a heads up, good enough. If you want to jump in, join the task force, come to meetings, host your own training, like really be out there trailblazing, we will also support you in doing that. So don't be intimidated by it. please join us. And every year when I come and do this, a couple of people always email me and say, hey, I'm interested, or email Claudine. So you would not be alone in doing that. You're in good company. So a few things I want to say about 2021. We are extraordinarily fortunate for the partnership that we have with our coroner's office. I could say so many good things about them. They are kind and compassionate people who do hard but necessary work, because end of life is something that affects all of us. But to the point of this presentation is we get a lot of really, really helpful data for them. And so I want to share something that I think feels really hopeful, and that is we typically average 100 losses to suicide every year. In the past 5 years, we've had some years that have been as high as 120. In 2021, we lost 83 people. Now, I don't want to make light. That is 83 families who had the worst thing that could happen to them, who lost, that's 83 people who were so sad and so emotionally in pain they couldn't see to the next day. That's a big deal for all of those 83. But I also think about the 40 that we didn't lose last year, right? What is happening that is protective that we need to learn from? What are we doing right when it comes to connecting to people, when it comes to helping people feel less alone, when it comes to encouraging people to get help? And so I feel really good saying that our numbers are down for 2021. I would also encourage people to be comfortable with nuance. Two things can be true at the same time. We lost less people last year. That is excellent. There are things that we are doing right. We also know that, data coming back from schools, we have kids who are reporting that they are sad or feeling depressed at higher rates than we've ever seen before. The Pennsylvania Annual Youth Survey pays data. You can ask your school districts if they participate. They all should be. Is telling us we need to look out. We need to be careful. We need to think about these young people. We also know there are people who are struggling who don't die. We still want to help them too, right? So two things can be true. I think as a community, I think the task force should feel really proud of themselves. I think the places of worship who are hosting trainings, I think the teachers who are putting up signs in their classroom encouraging kids to come talk to them. My 5-year-old is in kindergarten this year, and at the parent orientation, they were having us all telling us about second step and social emotional learning, and we were practicing deep breathing together. That's suicide prevention. I was really proud to see that. So 2021, our suicide deaths are down. A little something about ages, because I think this is helpful to know. Any death of a young person is a death too many, always going to be tragic. But I am happy to report our numbers are low. Our numbers are low. Where we are seeing the highest rate of loss are with our folks who are sort of at the upper end of the middle age, that 55 to 64-year-old age range. And then we talk about means matters a lot, right? So when we think about losing people to drugs, when we think about losing people to hanging, when we think about we had a year where there were a couple of train deaths, and so we partnered with SEPTA to hand out information at the stations and to put up signs, and that made a difference. You see the little spike at the drugs. I know it's also Overdose Prevention Awareness Month, and there'll be a presentation on that, but get unused drugs out of your home or lock up your medication cabinets if you can. You can see the spike around the use of firearms. We have a great partnership with our Coatesville VA, who gives us gun locks. If you don't have gun locks in your home and you need them, we can get you them for free. Store ammunition separately. There are also some really incredible organizations like Hold My Guns that partner with gun shops who will hold your guns for you if there's someone in your home that you're worried about. And it's a safe way to sort of decrease risk in the home. We also analyze our losses by township and region. And so anywhere that we've seen is having sort of a spike regionally, we're going to be reaching out to those townships and having conversations about how we can support them. Can we offer resources? What are the opportunities for collaboration? Just real quick, a couple of things to look out for. Whenever we do our trainings, they're called QPR, Question, Persuade, Refer. We always talk about sort of these 4 buckets of just what should I be aware of? And I always try to sort of drive home for people. These are things that if we're listening to our intuition, feel intuitive to us. We are human beings. We are already experts on this. Everybody in this room at some point has felt sad or ashamed or alone. You can extrapolate out what it would be like if that feeling didn't go away. And that makes you an expert in a lot of ways on suicide prevention. So you want to look out for things that people say. Are they giving us clues that they're thinking about death or dying more than usual? Behaviors What's different for that person? Are they acquiring means in a different way? Situational clues, anything that makes us feel isolated or like we've lost control or like we're ashamed of ourselves. And then there's the spiritual clues. And this one's a little harder to define, but it's this idea that I've lost my balance. I've lost my framework for where I fit into the world. You know, how do I see myself? How do I see others? When that gets off kilter, it can be dangerous. In this county, we have a 24/7 mobile crisis team. They are available at 1-855-634-4673. They are a hotline and also a mobile service. Please don't ever be intimidated by the word crisis. You know, something doesn't have to be on fire to call them. You can call them and ask for coaching. You can say, hey, there's somebody that I work with, and they said something that like made the hairs on my neck stand up, but I'm not sure what to do about it. Can you give me some phrases or a way to talk to them or some advice? So there's never a wrong reason to call. A couple of initiatives I just want to share with you. And part of this is to share, to brag a little about the good work the task force is doing, but also to sort of see if I can plant seeds of ideas. You know, when we look at those numbers and we see all of those middle-aged men who are dying, right? How do we reach folks like that? By going to the workplace. That's a huge sort of area where we can go. So if you want to host a lunch and learn, we've done a lot of those for employees, or if you go to a church or you have a community you're a part of, we'd be happy to come and do partnerships. But we partner with SEPTA, we partner with local colleges, law enforcement. We launched recently this year a veterans response team and have done suicide prevention work with them in the VA. And then the Peyton Heart Project. So if you like to crochet, don't tell me you like to crochet. I will enlist you in this project. But we make these little hearts and then we put resources on the end of them, and it's just a really low barrier way to start an important conversation. A couple of spotlights on this year, new things we've been doing, a suicide death review team. These are folks that get together quarterly and they go in depth on people we've lost to suicide to see what we can learn about their lives. What are their stories? How do we honor their loss by trying to prevent future loss? The task force has established a board where we have key representatives now who are in leadership positions representing things like the elderly, young people, veterans, the medical side of things. And then we've also done a partnership with our coroner's office where now every time there's a suspected suicide loss or a suicide loss, we're being proactive in having somebody from our crisis group reach out to their family and say, how can I be helpful to you? What do you need in this time? I want to say just a word about the 988 transition. I'm not sure if people have heard of that. There was a 10-digit lifeline number. There was even a song about it a couple of years ago. That has, through national legislation, changed to a 3-digit number. And sort of the hope is that, one, it's easier to remember, 988. It's also expanded its mission from just suicide prevention to all behavioral health crisis. And so people are welcome to call that. Our local number is not going away. So you could call either. And you will get, if you call 988, your phone goes to the nearest registered crisis center. So just be aware, if you have an out-of-county area code, or if you're sharing this number with someone somewhere else, you might not land on a crisis service in Montgomery County, but it will be somebody to talk to, and hopefully they can transfer you to where you need to be. If you know that you're in Montgomery County and you need support, feel free to call Mobile Crisis directly. And I just sort of want to wrap it up with saying thanks for letting me be here today. Talking about this is one of the best ways to help people feel less alone. And so the more that we could talk about it, whether it's questions or ideas or feedback, sometimes we do things and people say, that's not working, please don't do it that way. And then we try to do it better. It's not Pauline because she knows. But that doesn't work. Okay, let's change it up. Let's do something better. So.
Thank you so much for being here today. And it's really great to see how consistent your work has been, how community engaged that work is, and that it does seem to be having an impact. It was so encouraging to see the reduction in the rate of suicides here in this county, particularly given what's happened nationally over these last couple of years. And I think it's a real tribute to the fact that we already had this community-based network in place before COVID hit, and people were able to pivot to going onto Zoom and getting help through telemedicine and other ways pretty quickly here. And I think that that was incredibly helpful. And I just want to emphasize the importance of the stigma. You know, we fight, and we're going to talk about drug overdoses next, the importance of not being afraid to ask for help, not being afraid to raise your hand and say, I don't understand this, I have a question about this, because there are so many people here to help, and it is breaking through that stigma to actually get people to treatment that saves lives, whether it's a death that is a suicide or through a drug overdose. So thank you so much for your leadership. I know it's been incredibly difficult these last couple of years, but it is so gratifying to see that the trends are moving in the right direction. And I hope that someday we can get that down to zero. That is absolutely the goal. So thank you.
And it's great to see you. You mentioned the coroner's office has a very important and difficult job. You have a very important and difficult job, and you do it well. Have we seen any kind of numbers on the 988 yet? Are people picking that up? Are people using it?
People are using it. So 988 launched in the middle of July, and it's interesting. All the states were required to have patches on the phone lines where if you called 988, somebody had to be answering it. But the state of Pennsylvania decided to scale back our advertising of it to give our 911 systems and our local communities a chance to really be ready, because there's a lot of anticipation that volume's going to go up. But even just the national launch and advertising alone, our call center did see a rise in numbers over the first couple of weekends. And then you kind of see it, so far we just only have a couple weeks worth of data, but you see the calls trend up whenever there's sort of a national campaign to say that it's available. So people respond to hearing about it. So we're kind of hoping this time next year we'll have a year's worth of data to say this is what it looks like. But we have seen a spike in calls.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Trout, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, and also thank your colleagues in the Office of Mental Health for what they do each day, and also the advisory board members. And clearly what you're doing is working well, because the numbers decreased this year, and that's most important, and we're grateful for all of that.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Wang. It is also National Recovery Month, so we're going to get some updates, some work going on across the county in that effort.
Right. Thank you, Commissioners, for having me present today. My name is Alvin Wang. I'm a practicing emergency physician and at an academic medical center, and I also serve as the Chief Medical Officer and the Regional EMS Medical Director for the Montgomery County Department of Public Safety. Next slide, please. So we need to talk about overdose, right? And yesterday, as we heard, was International Overdose Awareness Day, and today, September 1st, marks the first day of Recovery Month. And I wanted to just take a moment to talk about overdose in general. And we need to be clear that overdose is not just opioids. Heroin, fentanyl are opioids, but overdoses can occur with substances like alcohol, cocaine, methamphetamines, synthetic drugs, and even marijuana. With increasing frequency, unfortunately, we are also seeing individuals overdose on combinations of substances as well, which we refer to as polysubstance abuse. Overdose affects all of us, whether we know it or not. And before we get really into the heart of this presentation, I wanted to take a moment to honor the memories of those who have died from overdose and to reflect on the grief of those that they left behind. Many survivors and their families continue to live with the unfair stigma of having a family member or close friend die from an overdose. And the fact is, whether we're aware of it or not, substance use disorder has an impact on all of our lives. Unfortunately, with how prevalent the disease is, the odds are great that somewhere in our circle of friends, families, co-workers, and acquaintances, each one of us is directly connected to another individual who is currently challenged by substance use disorder. This, unfortunately, is a national trend, and unfortunately, overdoses have become a leading cause of death for people ages 18 to 45. In fact, we saw an increase of about 30% in deaths from 2019 to 2020. And unfortunately, minorities are disproportionately represented in these figures as well. And we see that Black people are more likely to die from overdose than other populations. Even if a death does not occur from overdose, this has a significant impact on our healthcare system. Looking at ED visit data for here in Southeast Pennsylvania, although Montgomery County compares very favorably to those in our neighboring counties, we can see that the rate of ED visits for overdose events have increased steadily over the past several years. One of the key projects we have here in Montgomery County is via a grant given to us by the Federal Department of Justice, which is called the EMODS program. The Department of Public Safety, in partnership with the Department of Health and Human Services, has been fortunate enough to receive this grant to enable us to aggregate multiple data sources to gain a better understanding of overdoses in Montgomery County, with the goal of being able to identify trends and rapidly target our county's multiple substance use disorder mitigation programs effectively. This data set is very comprehensive. Next slide, please. and lets us see that overdoses really do happen every single day of the week, 24/7, 365, throughout all municipalities in our county. And through the past several years, we have seen a consistent trend, next slide please, with increasing overdose calls for service. So looking at the trend lines, we see that there's been a dramatic spike in the number of overdose calls for service between 2019 into 2020 and 2021. On the right of the screen, however, there is some good news. If we continue out our current course, it's projected that overdoses will actually decrease for 2022, and my hope is that that trend continues for the remainder of this year. In addition, I do want to point out something very significant, which is that our drug-related deaths are down 30%. And again, although one death is too many, the fact that we are showing a net negative trend or an improvement in the number of deaths is significant, despite the increasing number of overdoses. Moreover, our opioid-related deaths are down as well. This is really what I want to talk about today, and the purpose of collecting this data is really so that we can take definitive action, right? Because without good data, we can't know where we can be most effective. And there are so many Montgomery County agencies and departments that are so engaged in work in this nature and really providing this service to our residents. So I first wanted to express my appreciation to all of them for their great partnership, and I wish that all of them could be up here today to discuss some of these numerous programs that the county has implemented. In addition, our EMS and law enforcement agencies are right up there on the front lines providing emergency services to individuals who have an overdose event, and people can actually receive treatment before a first responder gets there when they call our 911 telecommunications center. Our dispatchers are trained and specially equipped to actually provide just-in-time instructions over the telephone on how to give bystander naloxone if somebody has that available. We have numerous nonprofit and support services that partner with the county as well. Access Services, Creative Health, RHD Gadenzia, and the Montgomery County Recovery Community Center are all intimately involved in providing these services as well. As some examples of recent activities for the team, in the past couple of months, there have been 2 specific listening sessions to obtain direct feedback about the level of services provided by the county from individuals facing substance use disorder and any gaps they've had in accessing treatment. Our overdose fatality review team meets to regularly review cases and identify any missed opportunities for engagements. And over 6,000 doses of naloxone have been distributed at no charge to over 127 different agencies via the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime Delinquency Program administered by the Department of Public Safety. In addition, every single EMS agency in Montgomery County has the opportunity to leave behind naloxone at no cost for the family members of any individual who's experienced an overdose event in the county. We recognize that overdose knows no geographic boundaries, and we have regional overdose summits planned to ensure that we're all aligned in meeting the needs of our residents. I do want to take a couple moments just to talk about one of our newest programs, the Montgomery County Overdose Response Team. And as you may recall, in the past couple of years, we've had a mobile integrated health team for the Department of Public Safety, which was engaged in many aspects of the COVID-19 mitigation efforts of the county, including vaccinations for the homebound and underserved individuals in our county. I'm pleased to report that the team is ready to pivot into the second phase of our operations, which is the direct partnership with Access Services to bring a crisis worker with additional training as a certified recovery specialist in direct partnership with a community paramedic to the Department of Public Safety. And this team would respond in a SUV to 911 calls for overdose events throughout the county and provide an opportunity for the victim to really have an opportunity to directly engage with a recovery specialist, a peer with lived experience, with specialized training and engagement, with the goal of really getting that individual to treatment on a long-term basis with as few barriers as possible. This work is newly undertaken, but something that I hope will be tremendously successful in reducing the stigma and the burden of overdoses in our county. So with that being said, I also wanted to leave some helpful resources for anyone who has a loved one, a family member, or a friend who wants to know how to get help. There are web-based services, there are anonymous phone-based services, text services that are all available and at the resources list on the screen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Wang. This is terrific update. Really am excited that we are about to take that next step with pairing up community paramedics with recovery specialists. And for folks who may not be completely clear on that, recovery specialists are individuals who are in recovery and they get trained to work with individuals who are experiencing an overdose but have survived it. And the data is very clear that that is the most effective way to get somebody to go into treatment, because they're talking to somebody who has gotten through it. So I want to thank all of the folks in our county who become CRSs. They are playing such an important role in this work, and I'm really excited to see how this next step goes. I just want to point out just one nuance for folks listening, that there is a difference between an overdose and then someone who actually dies from that overdose. And so I think one of the really compelling things, and I think part of this is the fact that we have Narcan so readily available now in our community, is that while we've seen the number of overdoses go up, we've actually seen the number of people dying from those overdoses come down. So that's a very important point to take away from this. And so obviously we don't want the overdoses to happen at all, but thankfully more individuals are recovering when there is an overdose that occurs. And that's just always a good reminder for our community that there is still a naloxone standing order in place. And you can go to just about any pharmacy here in the county and simply walk up to the pharmacy desk and ask for a prescription of naloxone. So if you are someone that has any concerns about a friend or family member, or just want to have naloxone to act as a good Samaritan, it's very easy to get. The more people that have naloxone, the fewer people that will die when they do overdose. So just want to remind people that that is still available. And finally, just want to thank you for your leadership on this, Dr. Wang. You have really been the push behind creating the community paramedic group. And it is a way of getting paramedics with that level of training out into our community, helping people just on a day-to-day basis. And I think that this particular approach to use that skill set with the certified recovery specialist should have a real positive impact in the community. Hopefully we'll get more folks into treatment. So thank you for your leadership and your dedication to this, and we really look forward to next steps.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah.
Thank you for your leadership. I don't know when you sleep, but we appreciate all the hard work you put in. Thank you for the update.
Good to see you, Doctor. And just yesterday, I had the opportunity to support and participate in an overdose awareness walk that took place in Pottstown. And I firsthand had many conversations with families that lost loved ones, and as you mentioned, at a young age. You see that it's very alarming, 18 to 45, that section of population, their number one cause of death is overdose. And it's tragic, and I know the work that you do and the team behind you, it means a lot to those families that lost loved ones. So just experienced that recently, and I know I want to pass that along to you. So keep up the good work, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank the team. Yeah. Okay, we do have one change to our agenda. There was an earlier draft of today's agenda that listed an item regarding the county hazmat and urban search and rescue teams. At the request of our public safety department, we are going to hold on that item until an upcoming meeting to ensure that we are maximizing the benefits available to our county first responders. So that item just simply has been removed. Next up, we have Hurricane Ida Emergency Declaration Extension. Mr. Stein, anything to add on
Chair,
that?
we do have one more speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Anthony from.
Oh, my goodness, I'm so sorry. I thought Dr. Wang had done the whole, I am really sorry. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Titano. I'm the coordinator of the Drug Treatment Court program here in Montgomery County, and I'm here on behalf of Stephanie Landis, the Director of Supervision Services. I just want to start by saying thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today about the treatment courts offered here in Montgomery County. The Montgomery County Drug Treatment Court began operations nearly 16 years ago as an alternative to traditional methods of dealing with those who suffer or struggle with a substance use disorder and are involved in the criminal justice system. The program identifies, assesses, and provides both intensive treatment and intensive supervision for those whose criminal behavior is directly linked to their substance use disorder. The county and the courts identified the need to expand treatment courts in order to support other specialty populations within Montgomery County. In 2009, the Montgomery County Behavioral Health Court was established to more effectively address the needs of those with serious mental illness cycling through the court and prison system. In 2011, the Montgomery County Veterans Treatment Court was established to address and support the needs of veterans. The treatment courts in Montgomery County are made up of a multidisciplinary team, which includes judges, the district attorney's office, the public defender's office, the adult probation and parole department, the Montgomery County Correctional Facility, the sheriff's department, the Office of Behavioral Health, the offices of drug and alcohol, treatment service providers, and a number of community organizations such as JRS and the United States Department of Veteran Affairs. To date, there have been 765 participants who have successfully completed the drug treatment court program. In May of 2018, Montgomery County commenced the Targeted Opioid Phase program, otherwise known as TOP, after being awarded a grant from the AOPC as a response to the opiate epidemic. The Montgomery County TOP program was established to prevent overdose and address the gap between arrest and sentencing for those with severe opiate substance use disorders. Like the other treatment courts, TOP identifies, assesses, and provides both treatment and supervision. The program also fast-tracks appropriate candidates into drug treatment court, veterans treatment court, and/or behavioral health court. The goal of TOP is to connect defendants to treatment at the earliest stages of the criminal justice process in an attempt to try and prevent overdoses. TOP is a 90-day program where a participant interacts with a judge every day, attends treatment, and is also required to submit random and frequent urinalysis. The TOP program also afforded a new opportunity to collaborate with pretrial services. Most recently, the TOP program expanded to allow all substance use disorders to be considered for the court. To date, there have been 83 participants that have successfully completed the TOP program. In addition to treatment courts offered in Montgomery County, the Adult Probation and Parole Department makes referrals for level of care assessments when deemed necessary for offenders struggling with substance use disorders. The Adult Probation and Parole Department has trained each probation officer in how to administer Narcan. The officers are provided with Narcan to take with them during their field work in an attempt to reduce overdoses. Thank you for allowing me to share about the treatment courts and their efforts in reducing the risk of overdoses in Montgomery County.
Again, my apologies for overlooking this, but thank you so much for that update. I think our treatment courts have been such an integral piece of our work here in the county to help reduce these deaths and have been nationally recognized, I think, on a number of occasions, particularly our drug court. And the TOP program was a really innovative program that got started just a couple years ago, as you said, and it's great to hear that there's been so many people that have gone through that program successfully. I don't know if you have this data at your fingertips, but it seems that the folks that do participate in these programs and get through them, actually complete them, have a very, very high success rate at not experiencing any recurring negative behavior. Is that still correct?
That is still correct.
Yeah. So do you happen to remember what
So the
those numbers are?
recidivism rate among people that complete drug treatment court is about 20%. For the people that did not participate in the treatment court, it's about 70%.
So there's really just an incredible impact here. So thank you to the team. Thank Ms. Landis for us, and we really appreciate the way that you are integrating across the county with multiple different departments to provide this level of service as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for the update.
Okay, so back to Hurricane Ida emergency declaration, Mr. Stein.
Yes, thank you. As mentioned earlier, we are at the one-year anniversary of Hurricane Ida and the destruction that it caused. The county continues to fund efforts to assist in the cleanup and recovery for individuals that were impacted. As part of that, we declared the emergency declaration a year ago. Those last for 60 days. We have renewed them each time for the past 12 months, and now we're at the point where we need to renew it again so we can continue the work.
Thank you. I will move that we, the undersigned commissioners of Montgomery County, pursuant to the provisions of Section 7501 of the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Services Code as amended, do hereby declare the existence of a disaster emergency in Montgomery County. Be it further resolved that we direct the Montgomery County Department of Public Safety to coordinate the activities of the emergency response, to take all appropriate action needed to alleviate the effects of this disaster, to aid in the restoration of essential public services, and to take any other emergency response action deemed necessary to respond to this disaster emergency. This declaration shall take effect September the 8th, 2022, and last for a period of 60 days. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Next, we'll have the September 1st personnel list with Megan Brown. Good morning, Ms. Brown.
Good morning. All right, you should have in front of you the final copy of the Commissioner Department Personnel List. It's a 3-page document dated Wednesday, August 31st, 2022, with a timestamp of 1:45 p.m. All positions have been reviewed and accounted for and are presented for consideration.
Thank you. I will move to approve the September 1st, 2022 personnel presentation as given by Assistant Director of Human Resources, Ms. Megan Brown, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. All right, Ms. O'Malley, advertisement of bids and RFPs.
Yes. We have a bid on behalf of Assets and Infrastructure for bridge maintenance services. Contract provides maintenance, repairs, and other associated work required for 4 Montgomery County bridges. County Bridge number 69, Sumneytown Pike, over branch of Towamesson Creek, Upper Gwinnett Township. County Bridge 73, Sweetsford Road, over Wissahickon Creek, Upper Gwinnett Township and Lower Gwinnett Township. County Bridge number 118, Keith Valley Road, over Park Creek, Horsham Township. County Bridge 295, North Dietz Mill Road, over Ridge Valley Creek, Salford Township. Contract will be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. All RFPs and bids are available on the county's purchasing website at www.montcopa.org/purchasing.
Thank you. I will move to approve the preceding request for the advertisement of a bid as described by the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Barbara O'Malley, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same, subject to the approval of the county solicitor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Next is awards of contract for the county.
Yes. 1, contract award, Assets and Infrastructure, Portable Toilet Rentals, Russell Reed Waste Hauling and Disposal Service Company Incorporated of Dallas, Texas, $38,852. Contract provides portable toilet rental for various Montgomery County parks and historic sites. Specification 6480 was viewed by 6 providers with 1 response received. Contract is awarded to the only responding provider who has met all qualifications of the specification. Contract is for a period of 1 year with 2 optional annual renewal terms. 2, contract award, Health and Human Services Consultants, MGT of America Consulting, LLC of Tampa, Florida, $50,000. Contract provides a racial equity readiness assessment and support consultant. Consultant services will facilitate a process to systemically prioritize racial equity in the design, conduct, and measurement of health and human services work. RFP 2234 was viewed by 62 providers with 8 responses received. Contract is awarded to the highest rated responder. Contract is for a period of 9 months with 4 optional renewal terms up to a cumulative total of 45 months. 3, contract award, Human Resources Consultants, multiple providers for services on an as-needed basis. Contract provides leadership training companies and career coaches, training and consulting services for those in leadership positions in Montgomery County. RFP 2220 was viewed by 146 providers with 20 responses received. Contracts are awarded to the highest rated responders. Awarded responders, Turner Coaching, Training, and Consulting of Reading, PA, TBD Now LLC of Lansdale, PA, the Lensurf Group Incorporated of Philadelphia, PA, One-on-One Accounting and Consulting Services LLC of York, PA, Elevate Business Development Group Incorporated of Jacksonville, Florida, CCI Consulting of Bluebell, PA, Steers Incorporated of Rivervale, New Jersey, Urban Engineers Incorporated of Philadelphia, PA, California Creative Solutions Incorporated of Poway, California, Lakeside Educational Network of North Wales, PA. 4, contract award, Information and Technology Solutions Consultant, Barry Dunn McNeil and Parker LLC of Portland, Maine, $831,600. Contract provides implementation assistance of the document management system and the court case management system solutions. Services are available through NASPO Value Point Cooperative Contract. 5, contract award, Information and Technology Solutions, Support Services, Pomeroy Technologies LLC of Hebron, Kentucky, $40,587.28. Contract provides support and maintenance services for the county's F5 security network, which provides the virtual desktop infrastructure. Services are available through a PA Coast Guard contract. 6, contract award, Information and Technology Solutions Software, SHI International Corporation of Somerset, New Jersey, $61,863.36. Contract provides software and maintenance for the county's domain name system for a 1-year period. Service info blocks allows county systems to connect and communicate and also provides real-time monitoring of events on a network. Software and maintenance are available through a PA CoStarz contract. 7, contract award, Public Safety Lighting, Stouch Lighting Incorporated of Aston, PA, $231,323.54. Contract provides a campus-wide upgrade to LED lighting at the Public Safety Training Campus. Services are available through a PA CoStars contract. 8, contract award Recorder of Deeds, Cashiering and Imaging Systems, GovOS Incorporated of Dallas, Texas, $293,224. Contract provides support and maintenance of electronic images for recording, cashiering, researching, retrieving, and printing documents. RFP 2237 was viewed by 31 providers with 5 responses received. Contract is awarded to the highest rated provider. Contract is for a period of 3 years with 2 optional annual renewal terms. 9, contract award Youth Service Food Service. U.S. Food Service of Allentown, PA, $150,000. Contract provides the purchase of food products for the Youth Center Food Services Division. Contract is available through the Tri-State Food Services Group Cooperative. Contract term is for a 1-year period through 6/30/2023. 10, contract award Youth Center Food Service Fessers Incorporated of Harrisburg, PA, $42,000. Contract provides the purchase of food products due to a supply chain constraint from the current contracted provider. Food products are available through a PA CoStars contract through 6/30/2023. 11, contract amendment, Assets and Infrastructure Services, John Milner Architects Incorporated of Chadsford, PA, no cost. Original contract provided a historic structure report for Pottsgrove Manor. Amendment provides for a no-cost time extension of the project from August 15, 2022 through October 15, 2022 for completion of the project. 2 contracts, 22 contract renewals, and 2 amendments for Health and Human Services. Those providers and services are listed at the end of the agenda and the back of the room.
Thank you. I will move to approve the preceding awards of contract as described by the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Barbara O'Malley, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same, subject to the approval of the county solicitor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment?
Yes. I request that the amendment on the floor is changed to separate contract award number 2 and number 3. Contract award number 2 is a contract for consulting on racial equity readiness assessment that systemically prioritizes racial equity in the design, conduct, and measurement of Health and Human Services work. I'm confident that the employees we have existing in the Health and Human Services Department are competent enough to carry out those responsibilities and duties, and we don't need to pay $50,000 for a consultant. And also the contract number 3, which is a contract for consulting on leadership training and career coaching for leadership positions in Montgomery County. I believe we have to watch every tax dollar that's spent, and we have to be responsible about it. And if something's not a necessity, we can't spend it. So in my opinion, we don't need either one of these, and I request that the motion is adopted.
All right, I will accept that. So we're going to vote on everything except Amendment 2 and 3, or Award 2 and 3. Any additional comment?
Commissioner Gow, are you saying we don't need racial equity and readiness, or you just think we can do it without a consultant?
I think our staff is competent to do it already.
But you do believe in racial equity?
Sure, I believe every individual should be treated equally. And I believe our staff do as well. I hope you don't feel differently.
Any additional comment? All right, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Then I will make a motion to approve awards of contract number 2 and 3 as described by the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Barbara O'Malley, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same subject to the approval of the county commissioner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any additional comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes?
Negative vote.
All right, motion carries 2-1. Next, emergency procurement.
Yes, 1, contract award, Public Safety, Tower Repair, Natcom Incorporated of Audubon, PA, $30,870. Contract provides repairs to the Mermaid Lane radio tower in Lower Moreland Township due to a degradation of the microwave path between Mermaid Lane and Lower Moreland.
I will move by, there's a motion by the county commissioners that an actual emergency existed as defined by section 1802B of the county code, thereby permitting the county of Montgomery through its chief clerk and chief operating officer to enter into such contracts without meeting the requirements of section 1802. of the county code, as may be required to restore and maintain 911 tower service at the Mermaid Lane Tower site in Lower Moreland Township. Be it further resolved that the proper county officials, in accordance with the authority conferred by law, subject to the approval of the county solicitor, are hereby authorized to enter into a contract with NatCom Incorporated of Audubon, Pennsylvania, to restore and maintain 911 tower service at the Mermaid Lane Tower site in Lower Moreland Township, with a cost of $30,870. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, next we have an award of contract for voter services.
Yes, one, contract award, voter services, equipment support. Blue Crest Incorporated of Danbury, Connecticut, $43,721.77. Contract provides ballot processing equipment support for a one-year period. Support services are available through a NASPO cooperative contract.
Great. Thank you. I will move to approve the preceding award of contract as described by the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Barbara O'Malley, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same, subject to the approval of the county solicitor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Ms. Washington, I'll ask for a roll call vote on this. Is there any other board comment? All right, go ahead then. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
Okay, motion carries 2-1. Next, awards of contract for assets and infrastructure.
Yes. One, contract amendment, assets and infrastructure, engineering services, GZA Environmental Incorporated of Lansdale, PA, $75,000. Original contract provided geotechnical engineering services for the courthouse in relation to the Justice Center project. Amendment provides additional sampling and project management for the remainder of Phase 2 and the duration of Phase 3 for the Justice Center project.
Thank you. I will move to approve the preceding award of contract as described by the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Barbara O'Malley, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same, subject to the approval of the county solicitor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Again, Ms. Washington, I'll ask for a roll call vote. Is there any other additional board comment? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
Okay, motion carries 2-1. Thank you, Ms. O'Malley. Any closing commissioner comments?
I have a closing comment. Someone mentioned earlier civics lessons, and I really think maybe we need to figure out how to do that. So, Mr. Morgan, you've come to multiple meetings now and addressed police and hiring police. County government is not responsible for hiring police. The municipalities are responsible to do so. So when District Attorney Steele comes here to talk about increased funding, he's talking about for his office. He's not talking about for police officers. Sheriff's deputies do not patrol the streets. They protect the courthouse and they do other duties as well. So if you would like to see increased police, you need to go to the municipality, wherever you think that is, and talk to the local government about that. Montgomery County does not hire police officers.
And just to be clear, there are counties where sheriffs patrol streets, but that is not the case in Montgomery County. In Montgomery County, sheriffs protect the courthouse. They're sometimes downstairs when people come into this building. They serve warrants. They are involved in some foreclosure activities. They do not patrol the streets here in Montgomery County. Just want to be very clear about that.
Public will be reminded this is not an opportunity to yell from the audience.
All right, with that, I will announce that our next meeting is September
Excuse me.
15th, 2022.
Just one thing.
No, ma'am, please sit down. The meeting is moving
J.O.
on.
Steele was here on December 2nd.
And I will
He
move
was
to
asking for
adjourn.
law enforcement training, not just his office, Ken.
I will move to adjourn the September 1st, 2022 meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawrence. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned, and we will convene salary board. Mr. Landauer, you're for the Controller's Office? Okay. Is there any public comment on salary board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one
Yeah.
second, we gotta
Sure.
get the timer back up and everything, just a second. And the same rules apply as previously.
Just write it down again.
Hold on. Just want to make sure you get your fair amount of time. All right, thank you. You can begin.
Madam Doctor, can I comment again about Montgomery County Emergency Service?
No.
And
This is-
HEPA Creative Health?
No, this is actually the salary board meeting.
Okay.
This is related to salary board matters. This board can only vote on salary board matters, so that any comments have to be related to salary board.
Can I comment about the private press conference and the Emergency Operations Center?
No.
Shoot. Okay, I have to give it a try.
Anything else? Anyone else? Okay. All right. Ms. Brown.
All right. Good morning, members of Salary Board. You should have in front of you the final copy of the Salary Board list. It's a 4-page document dated Wednesday, August 31st, 2022, with a timestamp of 1:45 p.m. Of note, we have one retiree, Michelle Josing, of the Youth Center after 5 years. All positions have been reviewed and accounted for and are presented for Salary Board consideration.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the September 1st, 2022 Salary Board presentation as given by Assistant Director of Human Resources, Ms. Megan Brown, and to authorize the proper county officials to execute the same?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Commissioner Lawrence. A second by Mr. Landauer. Is there any board comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Are there any negative votes? Hearing none, motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn the September 1st, 2022 meeting of the Montgomery County Salary Board?
I move to adjourn.
Moved by Commissioner Lawrence. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Landauer. Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Any negative votes? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.